Check. My bad. Welcome to Focus Daily TV. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Today we're going to break down the Great Depression. What really occurred? Was it a sabotage meant to disenfranchise the people? Or was it an actual depression? By the time we get through with breaking down a little bit of this information, hopefully you can tell me. Not going to do too much talking. We're going to get straight into it. Hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel. Hashtag Focus Daily TV. Let's go.
In the world of finance, we are often quick to forget the tragedies of the past, yet valuable lessons are to be had by exploring their causes and effects. After all, in a world of ever-changing rules, products, and
So what are the causes and effects? Let's see.
services, history is the one constant that can guide us through the ambiguity. So let's take a 5-minute history lesson on today's Plain Bagel.
Yeah, we like to keep Focus Daily TV short and to the point, and little, small, intricate phases of information. Once you put it all together, hopefully you can see the big picture. But you must put your discernment cap on. Let's go.
The year is 1918, and after 4 years of conflict, the First World War is finally over. America has emerged as one of the victors, and is about to enter a period of economic prosperity and cultural change known as the Roaring Twenties. Things start off pretty strongly, as the post-war economy is seeing a boost. Troops are back from the war, delayed projects are
So, to make a long story short, they expended all the funds on this so-called theatrical world war. And in exchange, when people returned back, although it seemed like they're partying and they're happy, a more sinister plot began to take place. The complete robbing of the financial system of the USA in that current state. What was going on was they was replacing the original charter with a new usurped government. I guess that's the word. To bring in that fiat system that I speaks about so much.
are springing up again, and hey, more women are entering the workforce, meaning that more people have a salary to spend, and companies are looking for a piece of the money pie. So in 1920, we see our first radio advertisement, and it seems to be working. Recent inventions like the vacuum cleaner and the
Propaganda took on an all-new high after World War One. Once they realized that through a dedicated system of ideological subversion, they can pretty much get the people to feel and react and do anything that they set their mind to, which shortly turned into registration, classification, and complete disenfranchisement of the indigenous people of this land, who are African Americans, Afro Americans, the children of God, Israel, Jerusalem, which the Bible speaks of.
electric washing machine are becoming hot commodities. And hey, since things are looking pretty good, the banks are
They ain't invent none of that, but let's go.
giving out loans to everybody, meaning that even more people can buy the latest and greatest gadgets. Before you know it, everyone's getting a car too, Henry Ford's T-model to be exact, and with it, life is becoming a lot easier. Now you can do the Charleston across town and be home for your evening smoke.
The formation of the consumer society, the bond men, bond women, debt, enslavement society that we find ourselves living in the midst of today.
All of this is making companies very rich, and the average American is making good money themselves. In fact, people are starting to look for things to do with their newfound wealth. Buy another laundry machine? Nah. A new car? Don't need it. Oh, wait, what about investing? Yeah, that's it. After all, why be rich when you could be more rich? So the stock market becomes a pretty popular practice, and with so many people buying, investors are finding it very easy to make money on stocks. Soon enough, everyone thinks they're 1920s Warren Buffett, and I mean everybody. Cooks, shoe shines, taxi drivers, you name it.
Come on, guys, let's get to it.
Everyone is trading like a Wall Street tycoon, pouring their life savings into whatever security is hot that day. In fact, there's so much money to be made, people are taking out loans to invest even more, and banks are happily collecting the interest. By the way, those same banks are looking to invest more money too, and soon
So basically, it seemed like they created a false sense of security. And right when everybody was all in, they pulled the floor from up under them.
enough, they begin borrowing money from customer bank accounts to buy stocks. But since things are looking up, no one's noticing, and overall things are going pretty well in America, financially anyway. And as we experience flapper culture, prohibition, and the rise of jazz music, people are making good money on the markets. By 1929, America's total wealth has doubled, and investments are up 218% since 1922. In fact, stocks are rising so fast, companies are having a hard time keeping up and justifying their stock price. Wait, that's not good. And hold on, production actually seems to be slowing down.
Now, keep in mind, all of this is an intricate plot to bring in the Federal Reserve and their fiat system of banking.
Henry's not making as many T models, and people aren't buying as many things. It looks like companies may have overestimated their growth, and now wages are falling. And all that easy to access debt? Well, people have taken out quite a bit, and interest rates are starting to rise. But wait a minute, the stock...
So I see now, so they created that false sense of security, and people begin to take out loans, purchase things they couldn't afford, all so they will be in debt and accept this new Federal Reserve government that began to come into play shortly after 1930.
Stock market is still up. That doesn't seem right. Even though the economy is looking worse for wear under the hood, investors are more or less ignoring these problems and buying and selling as if everything were exceptional. Sure, we see a few shakeups and close calls, but things are still largely positive, and people are still gambling on the...
Believe it or not, here on Focus Daily TV, we speak about biblical prophecy. All of this information applies directly to the word that is written in the book. Hit that like button. Go ahead. Subscribe for sure. Support the channel. # Focus Daily TV. Let's go.
The markets. But over time, the voice of reason is getting louder, and investor uncertainty is increasing, which brings us to October 24th, 1929. Black Thursday, as it's called, the theorized start of the Great Depression. Investors have been royally spooked, with headlines reading,
"Prices of stocks crash in heavy liquidation."
And when markets open, they start to sell. And I mean sell. 12.9 million shares to be exact. A new record. And at opening bell, things fall 11%.
All will be deceived. Just like that.
People are selling so much that price tickers can't keep up with the volume, so people don't even know what their selling price is. And all of this selling is dragging the stock market down, erasing large chunks of America's wealth, and things are about to get worse. While markets recover later that day, come Black Tuesday, it's an outright panic. The Dow Jones falls 12%, and that record we set last Thursday, we just broke it again. The markets lose $14 billion in one day. Some shares are now worthless, people have lost their life savings, and Americans who borrow to invest are absolutely crushed. And so, friends, here we are. The
setup for the play, huh?
Great Depression, the worst economic downturn in the history of the industrialized world. The Dow Jones falls...
So here we go. Intentionally sabotage and crash the economic system in order to bring in the Federal Reserve System. That's what we're looking at.
For another 3 years after this, losing 90% of its value from its high in 1929. Many lose their jobs as companies shut down, and it's not just investors that are hit. Remember that money the banks borrowed? Well,
why does it matter, you say? Because this is biblical prophecy. So just pay attention, little fella. Hang in there. We got you.
a bunch of it is lost in the markets too, and people are only getting back 10 cents for every dollar they had in their account. Banks across the country shut down, and unemployment reaches its highest level in U.S. history, 24.9%. By this point, breadlines, soup kitchens, and homelessness are common sights. Whether you invested, borrowed money, or even just held money in a bank account, the Depression found a way to hurt you financially. Times would be tough throughout the 1930s, and fiscal intervention from Franklin D. Roosevelt would do little to boost activity.
Here we go. The beast system about to be injected.
In fact, it wouldn't be until the rise of the Third Reich in Germany that we would see an end to the crisis. You see, the Great Depression wasn't just felt in America. Rather, with recent globalization, its
with Nazi collaboration.
Effects were felt around the world. And in the darkness, we saw the rise of Hitler, who used the despair of the German people as a rallying call, ultimately leading to the creation of the Nazi Party and the start of the Second World War in 1939. The war created jobs in America, ironically ending one tragedy with the start of another. Experts can't. So let's take a 5-minute history lesson onto debt. Laws will
once again back with the fear in order to keep us in a state of perpetual martial law, a war. They'll do that.
America, ironically ending one tragedy with the start of another. Experts can't agree on why the Great Depression was as bad as it was, but there were valuable takeaways from the hardship. It demonstrated just how powerful the greed and alternatively the fear of the markets can be when
Basically, it was a play to set up that new Federal Reserve demonic system. Focus Daily TV, hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel, #Focus Daily TV. We out.